Hello, dear souls. I know after that last cryptic post, many of you or some of you might have some questions, so I just want to go over what has been going on with me for the last few months and a little bit of explanation as to why I haven't been around making videos. When the beginning of the year started, I got new insurance, so I decided to book a visit with my primary care physician. I've been having some weakness in my right leg, my right hip more specifically, for a while, and I thought it might be a good time to go get it checked out. She suggested that I start going to physical therapy because I had hip bursitis. I started physical therapy, and my physical therapist didn't really tell me what he thought might be going on with me. He just gave me a set of exercises to do to try to help strengthen my right hip. And my doctor noted that I had atrophy that she could see on my right leg. After starting the physical therapy exercises, I initially thought I was getting better. I was starting to have a little bit more stamina, but I was still getting really tired anytime I went for a walk. I had another visit with my physical therapist. I told him that I had went on a walk at my favorite park earlier in the week and that I was having trouble walking up the hill. So my physical therapist had me go up and down the stairs, which I had been having some difficulty with for a while, but I was able to make it up and down them twice, barely, but I was able to do them. He also put me on the treadmill at an incline all the way up to see if I could actually walk on a hill. To my surprise, I was able to do it for about 5 minutes. My physical therapist said that just keep doing the exercises that I gave you. I was doing them about once a day, but I was also having relapses in my pain in my right hip that would stop me from doing my exercises for a couple days. I went home and I continued doing my physical therapy exercises as much as I could. And then April rolled around. And April, my right hip pain was so bad that I had to go to urgent care. While I was there, they also said that I had hip bursitis, and they gave me an injection for my pain. Also gave me some ibuprofen and muscle relaxers, because at that time when I went to see the advanced urgent care, I let them know that I was having these painful muscle cramps in my leg. They were painful at times, but they were more annoying than anything because my leg was just starting to vibrate, contract, whatever, at really weird times. Like I'd wake up in the middle of the night and my right leg would be just going crazy in a muscle contraction. So they gave me the muscle relaxers. I started those. I took the ibuprofen, and during these times where I had to go to the doctor and stuff, I had to end up missing some work due to the pain and everything. At 1 o'clock in the morning, I was woken up out of my sleep. I felt really sick and I was feeling a very weird muscle contraction right in the space of my heart. Might have my times a little messed up for when I went to urgent care. Urgent care was at the end of March. Yeah. So the beginning of April, after I had finished the muscle relaxers and everything, I was woken up by this weird contraction in my heart area, and I was feeling really sick. So I was like, okay, this is kind of like a red flag. So called 911. They came out and examined me, and I was feeling really sick, really just horrible. I thought I was having a heart attack. They put me on the monitor, they checked me. There was a bunch of people in the living room, and they told me that it doesn't appear that I'm having a heart attack, that they could take me to the hospital if I wanted to or not. I said, no, I don't really want to go to the hospital in the middle of the night. The next Monday, I called my insurance's nurse line and told them, because I was still having weird feelings in my chest, and they suggested I go to get evaluated. So I went back to the advanced urgent care. They did an ECG on me. Everything was fine. They ran blood work. I didn't have any symptoms of having had a heart attack other than the weird chest contraction and feeling really sick. Flash forward to the end of April. It's my birthday week, so we go out to the ocean and I go for a little walk, and then I was really exhausted and I had to sit on the beach for a while. The next day rolled around. we went on another walk, and I got even more exhausted. And during these times leading up to April, I had weeks where I could go for a walk for 2 miles on my lunch break and be fine. And I would have weeks where I could do walking. After this incident, I could no longer go for leisurely walks. I tried to go on a couple of them at the park by my work, and it just was not comfortable. I knew my body was telling me to stop. Went and saw my physical therapist again, and I asked him straight up, I said, "What are you treating me for? Like, what's going on with me?" And he said, "Due to your PTSD, you have a heightened pain response. So he said, basically, we're trying to do exposure therapy to build up your resilience so that my pain response isn't so hyperactive anymore." I didn't really like hearing that from him, but at the same time I was like, okay, yeah, this might be what's going on. All throughout the month of April, I was having those leg twitches in my right leg, and it moved from my hip into my right thigh and my right hamstring muscle and glute, and even down into my calf. I would have these weird muscle cramps, muscle twitches at random times. Sometimes they would go on nonstop, and I would have these weird episodes of where I would just be in pain, be really weak, have trouble walking, and then a couple days later I would be fine. And this has been going on for months. Now we roll around to the beginning of May. I had seen my doctor earlier in April too, because when I was at work, a dog jumped up on me and I fell back and I got thrown into one of these episodes of pain with my right leg. Beginning of May, I was having issues. I had started some medications, and then I started becoming more aware of how serious my right leg weakness was. When I looked down at my leg, I noticed that my right thigh is visibly smaller than my left leg. And 2 weeks ago, I was completely fine. I went to work. I was feeling a little weird, but then Wednesday, May 13th rolled around, and I woke up when my alarm went off, and I turned to my boyfriend and I told him, I said, I don't think I could safely drive today because my right leg was hurting so bad and the weakness was so bad I could barely stand up. Went to advanced urgent care, and I was also having a little bit of lack of sensation in my pelvic area and down my right leg. So at urgent care, the doctor came in immediately and did a comprehensive neurological evaluation. During that evaluation, it was discovered that I did have quite a bit of loss of sensation over the right side of my body. That mixed with not being able to walk and the muscle cramps. And I was also having a lot of brain fog issues too on this day. The doctor recommended that I get an urgent demyelination protocol MRI to see if there's something that would show up that would explain why now I can't walk. I can't stand for more than 5 minutes unassisted. I cannot walk for more than 5 minutes unassisted. My insurance place where I went to urgent care didn't have an MRI available to do that day, so I had to go to the next closest emergency room to get the MRI done. I sat in the waiting room for a few minutes and they called me right back based on the neurological symptoms I was having. When I was getting triaged, the doctor came in right away and looked at me, and he asked me to stick out my tongue straight. I stuck my tongue out straight and it was flapping like this, and it had never done that before, and I was actually kind of freaked out. And he said, "Wow, your tongue's a little bouncy there. Does motor neuron disease run in your family?" And I know what motor neuron disease is, but as far as I'm aware, it doesn't run in my family. So I had to wait for the MRI about 6 hours, and then I was finally able to get in. If you've never had a demyelination protocol MRI before, it is a almost 2-hour long MRI of the complete spine and brain without contrast and with contrast. It was very uncomfortable and really loud, as MRIs are, but I made it through it and went back into my room. This whole time, mind you, I couldn't get off of the bed except to go to the bathroom, and I needed assistance to do that. I'm waiting, and 1 o'clock in the morning rolls by, and I'm wide awake again, and the doctor comes in and he says, "Great news, there was nothing on your MRI." Now, I'm happy to hear that there's nothing on my MRI. I hadn't had a stroke. I don't have a tumor pressing against something that is causing all this stuff. That's great. I'm not in immediate danger of dying. I know, I have to go. The doctor wrote me an urgent referral to neurology, and the next day I called and tried to get an appointment set up. Now, in between getting discharged from the emergency room on the 14th at 1 o'clock in the morning and the following Saturday night, I felt like it was getting worse, and I began noticing that my tongue was twitching quite a bit, uncontrollably. And that started freaking me out. So I started taking videos of my tongue during this heightened flare of whatever is going on with me. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, that could be serious. And then I noticed the right side of my tongue is a bit smaller than the left side of my tongue. And the other day I stuck my tongue out and it is diverting to the right a little bit. I know this can be serious. I went to the emergency room again on Saturday night because I was really starting to get freaked out about how weak I was feeling and how I wasn't feeling better since they last saw me, and they told me if your symptoms get worse or if any new symptoms arrive, to come back. I went back. It was the same doctor that had discharged me not even 48 hours prior. And my concern at the time was inflammation. So I brought these concerns to his awareness, and he spoke to the neurologist, and they agreed that we could try methylprednisone to see if it might help. First few days on the treatment were absolutely horrifying. I could barely lift my head for more than a few minutes, and I could not walk. I literally had to stay reclined those first few days. A couple days later, I started feeling a little better. I noticed the prednisone sort of caffeine effect, and I thought I was getting better. During this time, I was able to secure my first appointment with neurology, which is on June 17th. And then my primary care doctor's office had called to schedule me a follow-up. So this last Wednesday, I went and saw my primary care again, and now I pretty much have to use a wheelchair to get around places. And I told her I need to get an EMG done. She agreed. She ordered the EMG. I'm sorry, you guys, I get a little worn out when I talk a lot right now, but I just wanted to say these things and get this all out there to raise awareness for anyone else who may be experiencing a little bit of weakness in their leg that's not getting better. So my primary care doctor ordered the EMG. They called me and got it scheduled for the end of July. I wrote my doctor's office back on Friday and told her thank you for ordering the EMG, and then I sent a picture of my tongue to the neurology office, and then at 6:30 at night I got a notification email that my primary care doctor is wanting to rush the EMG and the neurology appointment. I haven't gone to work since the 13th of May. And I am a little bit scared about everything that's going on right now, but I am trying to be as positive as possible and just give you guys an update. So thank you for listening. I love you all so much. I'm still baking my breads right now, which is good. I haven't been able to do yoga in a really long time, which has been devastating. But I'm trying everything I can to keep positive. So I really hope you all are doing well too. Thank you so much for listening to me. And until we meet again in the next video, or let me know if you guys want me to record more videos like this, let you guys know how things are going as things progress. And I love you all so much. May you be peaceful, happy, healthy, and free. All my love.